WrestleMania has concluded, and we're live. Are you ready? One more time for WrestleMania. Hit that intro, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of appropriate ages, welcome to the WrestleMania 41 Night 2 review. Countdown ended is here live with friends to break it all down. Are you ready? Let's see those bananas in the air, and let's get ready to party.
Ceiling's cold, but the fire ain't out. Jake and the crew ain't a whisper or doubt. WrestleMania, blood and pride collide. Glory falls and history's tied to somewhere where shadows clash. Voices loud, predictions flash. Cena roll, fists break the air. A desert storm they cannot share.
There we go. Gotta love when wavelength crashes. Now you can hear me. Look at that. Too much RAM, too many programs going on. But we're live. Better soon than later, and better now than never. The Raw after Mania was hype as hell. Dare I say, hype as fuck. This was a damn good show. I'm not alone. As always, Cody, my good man, you were here with us. How you doing, my friend?
Expectations were lowered last night because of the shitty main event. I'm like, Triple H said we're gonna have a great Raw after Mania. I'm like, but he also said we had a great WrestleMania, which wasn't really the case. But tonight they delivered, and I'm fucking hyped. Hopefully
You
they
know,
continue with this.
no tide tonight, Pico, but that's right. Thank you for all joining the chat, and you were spot on, my friend. After a interesting WrestleMania 41, both nights concluded and in the history books, we go ahead and sight on to see that the future is looking bright, strong, and a bit younger. New influx of talent. Yeah, what's that, my friend?
So why the hell? Let's start off. I know we're starting off out of order, but why did they take the titles off of Liv and Raquel just to have them win it back?
To turn Becky. That was it. That was their plan. They couldn't bring Becky Lynch back as a heel because the fans were instantly going to cheer her for her return for first time in over a year.
Wouldn't that have made more sense to happen at WrestleMania? Lyra would have been the reason she lost at WrestleMania. Wouldn't that make her more pissed?
I think they wanted people to believe in, like, oh, no, it's not just a shock for the moment. Like, yeah, they're going to have the titles. They're going to go, you know, I think they wanted people to really be like, oh, they're not going to get the belts back. This is the plan. You know, they're going to successfully defend them and then head over to face Chemical X on NXT. Gigi and, Miss Tatum looking fantastic in the audience tonight. But my God, there's a lot that happened. And one of probably the biggest takeaways, I think, was Gunther and Pat McAfee. That was great. That was so well executed. And I was watching it on my mobile device, smaller screen, obviously. And I didn't realize. Would you like?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, oh, you're fine, but I didn't realize that they went ahead and had the podcast crew jump in. So at first I thought it was like fans jumping the barricade, trying to help them. I didn't get to see it right away. So when I looked after, I'm like, oh, all right. Paul and others let me know. It's like, nope, it's the podcast crew.
Because he was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
He's like, why are there a bunch of security holding these guys back? Did they know that they were his friends because they were like holding him back, but then they won't let him? Did they not know it was that?
I don't know. You never know nowadays because you want to say like, oh, things are always planned to a T. But then we listened to Bert Kreischer speak the other day, and he went ahead and basically when he was backstage, he told everybody, he walked up to Punk, he walked up to Triple H, he's like, I want to take a bump. And they all just kept laughing at him. And Triple H is like, oh, you're serious? Well, then we'll send you to Florida for a few weeks. You can get trained. We'll break you down. We'll see how you do. And if you do well, we can bring you in. And he's like, I just want to take one bump. So nothing came of it. He's front row. The show ends. And that's when A-Town Down start threatening him and Punk's down. So he takes off his shirt and he's being challenged. And then he's like, I don't know what to do. This is not scripted. I was not expecting this. I jumped the barricade making like a joke of it. But from there, he's like, I'm actually taking my belt and whipping it on the ground because I am afraid. I don't know what to do. And when he got into the ring, he's like, Punk told me, choke slam him, because I do a joke, Bert says in his act, about a choke slam. So he's like, he must know that I know how to do that. It was certainly funny to see A-Town Down get the bottom end of Mr. Bert Kreischer, but he was saying how his wife was livid because none of that was planned. They just went ahead and they wanted to make him feel included. So he got to give out 2 choke slams, but he knew none of what was going to happen. He was just sitting in the crowd. So a lot of times things just happen, and you never know. So the podcast crew, they could have just been like, fuck, that's my boy, and jumped in. I don't know if security knew, because some of the security looked like they were choking or hurting them. Maybe they wanted to sell it like it was real, but security, they're not always in the know. I always go back.
Someone had to say a referee or something. No, that's his friends.
Yeah, because I always go back to what was it, Mojo Rawley, and he had Gronk trying to get in, the female security guard holding him back at Mania, just reining him in there. Oh. But yeah, I think it's all going to be a disappointment, sadly. But we'll get to that. That's going to be a little bit of an Oldberg, down the road. We got that to look forward to with Gunther. Since they took the title off him, what's he going to do? He's going to be a bully, and they're going to go ahead and build him up. I loved what they did here. They made him look like a real vindictive asshole with a fractured ego, and he doesn't want to admit that he tapped. This is bullshit. He attacks, obviously Michael Cole, and then Pat stops him. Michael Cole is about to get choked again. Pat really breaks it up this time, kind of lays in a right, and wants to settle things down. All security, Adam Pearce, everybody runs out to ringside. They're holding Gunther. Pat's trying to make it cool. He starts to walk away, turns his back, but what should you never do? Pull on Superman's cape, piss in the wind, and turn your back on Gunther. Like death and taxes. That's a guarantee to get your ass choked out. And that's exactly what happened. Pat, on the ground, unconscious. He sold that like he had a case of laryngitis and then had his tonsil surgically removed. He's choking, needs water, dying all over the place. It was great. But, this was just a damn good audience as well. They added to every bit of this night. They were a bit fickle in what they wanted. They would boo and cheer for the same people at times. They just wanted to be loud. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to chant and cheer. I did not think I would hear a sing-song Michael Cole, chant happening. Michael Cole. But they're going to kill that cheer. I know. Dominic's getting a great ovation. And I think one of the people that got the largest ovation of the night was not even out amongst the crowd. Karrion Kross, when talking to AJ Styles, that place became unfucking glued. And they're doing great by him. WWE tweeted out earlier, like, oh, he has more to say. He has more to add. They're capitalizing on basically, the short I put out earlier today. Karrion Kross flipped out.
That was someone I was wrong about.
I'm happy.
Because I remember I told you I'm not into Karrion Kross. He's a man to me. I've told you that, but I think I'm wrong. I'll admit that. I'm wrong about it.
You know what it was, though? You weren't wrong for what they've given you, but when he was Killer Kross in TNA, you saw shades of this, a real, diabolically evil bastard that's very intelligent, way too intelligent to be in wrestling, and is a master of psychology, and just a true master of psychology that pays attention to the most minute of details. And his NXT run basically was marred because of COVID. He came in, he wrecked Tommaso. He said he was going to, destroy NXT. He did. And then, as he said, he was fighting people for gasoline with his Mad Max gear. And then he got let go. He tried to be a good soldier. He tried to carry on, and they fired him. And now he's back, and he's not going to be a good soldier. He's not going to listen. He's not going to stand by. He told the production crew to go fuck themselves, especially the man in the suit in the back.
Beautiful.
That was amazing. The follow-up tonight was what we needed. They acknowledged him. I acknowledge
So is
him.
he a heel? Is he a face? What is he?
He's a heel, but he's just too badass not to enjoy. That's kind of what it comes down to for me at this point.
Speaking about heel,
Yeah, we've the ending.
I've had people tell. Do you think these reactions for Liv and Dom are gonna turn them babyface? Is this gonna make them babyface? Because people are saying they might turn face because they're just getting cheered loudly.
So
Uh,
we'll get into obviously the full breakdown, but with JD McDonough returning, I think him and Finn are going to split Judgment Day apart, and we'll get more than likely Liv and Raquel as faces. I think we might see them and Dom do a full turn.
Liv, Raquel, and Dom go face, and Finn and JD will be the heels.
Yeah, they'll turn on them, and that's how I'm seeing it, because the fans certainly do not want to boo Dom, and if they're going to keep Dom and Liv together, then why have one
And they
heel,
always-
one face? And
Liv always gets good reactions anyway. So.
when you actually step back and think about it, you made a point the other day, and it really is exemplary by how much she's improved. I mean, becoming Superstar of the Year for the female side is greatly deserved. You think about her 2024 and what she was able to do.
In ring, like look at her wrestling 3 years ago to now.
Oh,
She
absolutely.
really cool match. She's fucking.
When you think back to the Riot Squad, you think back to Ruby Riot and Sarah Logan, and you never anticipated little Liv Morgan, the small blonde. She filled out and she put the work in. She's always had the passion. She's always had the love for the business. She's always loved wrestling, but unfortunately, it didn't line up for her at times.
Facial expressions.
Oh yeah,
Like she knows how to work the camera. Like last week, remember we were talking about when she hit that third amigo technically off the stairs. She was selling the pain from her back, but then when the camera got on her, she did that shimmy.
Mm-hmm. She
that's
knows.
fucking
She's got it. Absolutely.
I don't
And
know what the hell happened, but she's fucking. You can't sometimes even notice at Liv Morgan how much she's improved.
I know, you can't deny her though now. Certainly, she has become totally undeniable. And, we've seen Paul Heyman in the back. He's had his eye on Braun Breaker for a while. And on Pat McAfee's show today, he said, what are Roman Reigns and CM Punk going to do about it? And I forget the quote that Pat or someone said, but they're like, oh, maybe you need more meat. And he looked at them and he stopped and he says, then I'm going shopping. And now tonight, we went shopping. Cena said he was not going to reveal his plans, and
Do you want to talk about that other thing Paul Heyman said at the Pat McAfee?
oh my God, Pat could not rein Paul Heyman in. He was on fire. He starts off just berating the audience. Someone's telling him he sucks. He's like, no, that's your daughter that can't keep her mouth shut.
And he said something about that's why you're going to get deported.
Yeah, he said that to a nice Mexican fellow. He was, berating him as well. He went after another guy. I learned to suck from your mother. Oh, Pat was not able to control Paul Heyman at all, and it was
I think Pat was
hilarious.
nervous, because Pat might get in trouble by ESPN now. Especially
Oh, with
the-
those Shannon Sharp comments? Oh, that's the highlight of it all. At least I'm not being sued. Yeah, Paul laid it all out there, and he
Paul's
was.
not going back on Pat McAfee show again. I don't think Pat wants him back on there.
I don't know. That's ratings. That is ratings.
Does
It
ESPN
certainly
want
could
that,
be.
though?
I'm not sure. You'd be surprised.
Isn't his show on ESPN?
I'm not sure. I know he does some work with them, but for when I see him, it was on YouTube. Going into the chat, Ryan the Heel says, this Ray was a statement and a game changer. Yeah, absolutely. Pico agreeing that Rock sucks. There's that sign that was floating all around telling Dwayne to come to work. That was making me laugh. Coot right there with the beef baby.
I don't know what the fuck. I'm convinced The Rock just has this thing where he just wants to fuck Triple H's plans up, then leaving him.
We heard on the build to, actually, not even from the build to WrestleMania, Bad Blood. We heard that The Rock just fucking showed up in Atlanta, kind of had an idea, and ran out with it. And you can see there was no real follow-up because he came out, he did the 1, 2, 3. Okay, it was going to be the Cena thing. They wanted John to turn heel, but it wasn't really a plan yet involving The Rock. Apparently, the more that comes out about this, it was Triple H that approached John and said, "This is my idea. What do you think?" The Rock then tried to get in on it, wanted Cody to turn heel. That didn't happen. The Rock didn't get his way, and he fucking walked out. He hasn't been back. He has not been involved in anything in the entire build to WrestleMania, yet he was the most important part of the entire catalyst of why the main event existed the way that it does. Travis fucking Scott, the 140-pound rapper, was the one that put Cody Rhodes away, essentially. Like, it's a hard, bitter pill to swallow. I don't hate the result. I hate how we got there. Mania was underwhelming the first night. The main event was a good closeout. And then the second night was like this resurgence of energy. They 5 great matches in a row.
Event.
And then it just fell apart at the end, really. I mean, we got some good surprises tonight.
I wish the women's tag team title match happened last night at Mania, because then you would have had a perfect. And they were really the main event, right? Because like you and Spaz were saying, they didn't really do much of wrestling.
Yeah, John and Cody did not really wrestle.
Jonathan, they didn't. So the women's tag team title match, you can argue, was the main event of WrestleMania in a weird way.
Mm-hmm. And then, like TSS said, he said, good to see him. At first, no issues with Cena versus Orton at Backlash. It makes sense. Orton is from St. Louis. Yeah, we called this last night and over the weekend. As soon as we knew it was in St. Louis, we saw the parallels and everything started to turn. Makes sense. Hey, there we go. But it was a great way to hype the crowd. When we get more into all of the bit by bit shortly in the breakdown, we'll go over everything. But Liz saying Sammy's back. Good to see you in the chat show. Hope you're doing well today.
Maybe this was just me. If you saw, like, when Jay was on the top doing his yeet and Sammy was just behind him staring, I thought Sammy was going heel.
You know, you're not the only one. Him and Jimmy turning on Jay would have been hilarious. I don't know if I wanted to see it or not. Part of me does. I want that. The evil bastard in me comes out.
I would have wanted Sammy to turn it, because, like I was saying, like, he should take on Kevin's delusions. Not really delusions, because Kevin was right for everything.
He's really not wrong. He's still right. Look at everything he said about Roman. Look at what's happening. Look at what we've got. So now we're going to have to see Roman and Punk team up to take on Seth and Braun Breaker. Fuck me, that's exciting. Reluctant heroes taking on the bad guys.
Is that going to happen at Backlash?
Yeah, I could. I mean, it's not that far away.
That's probably going to be the open to Backlash, I'm guessing, because they're not going to have them on in the middle. Because I'm guessing John Cena and Randy Orton's the main event of Backlash, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. And, as Cena said, there's only so many dates left, not matches, dates. And it's going to go by quick.
Thing, the Germany, Scotland, the UK, and the counter kept going down.
Exactly. Can they coexist? And like Pico said, yes, just like Burt wanted a bump, so did Justin Credible. Solo is 6 months away from joining NWA. Yeah, Solo is such an afterthought at this point. He was the leader of the new bloodline, their tribal chief, and now he is nothing. And that's kind of the issue with some of the bookings that they have. They just have too many people, and you could say, oh, they don't have enough time. Sure they do, but do they? Because you can't present everybody.
You couldn't have had Jacob Fatu be under the tutelage of the Solo and like Solo be above him, because that just was never going to work out. I've always said that was just not going to work.
Ryan the heel.
Jacob Fatu was superior to Solo.
Yeah, he says that Julia got no crowd reception. I was like, damn, but really not everyone watches NXT. See, I disagree. I think the crowd was just bewildered that this great match that they were watching, chanting "This is awesome" 3 times for, got broken up by a really shitty interference finish that then led to a bit of a surprise, and it was also unclear. So we'll get more into it, but we don't know if any of these are official call-ups or not, because there's matches still in NXT happening. I kind of would imagine if Roxanne doesn't win the title tomorrow, which I don't see her beating Stephanie, then that should be it for her. She should be done. Roxanne should be moving up. She's done all she could in NXT. She saved that women's title for quite a while. She did her work. You know, she needs to get her recognition and move on up. She's done, I feel, everything she can and needs to in the NXT era. So they announced as well tonight so much. And like my good buddy Spaz said, who will be here tomorrow with Cody for the NXT review and Into Somewhere Weekly. Tomorrow we'll be discussing all of the upcoming plans for WWE. They announced so many dates, so many places. We'll talk about what the future looks like. We'll break down NXT. We'll also discuss what's coming up on SmackDown, our thoughts of everything, news, rumors. You're not going to want to miss it. Be there live after NXT tomorrow, Into Somewhere Weekly. But I thank you all for being here tonight. WWE Raw, live from Las Vegas's Nevada's T-Mobile Arena on April 21st, 2025. I'm Jake. This is your Raw review. And as always, let's get right into it. Michael Cole getting cheered like a son of a bitch. Open up the show the right way. John Cena comes out again. The silhouette, just the word, text of John Cena. And he was ready to just rip this crowd apart. He knew what he was going to say. He was great on the Pat McAfee show. And there's parts of what he's saying. To every great heel, there's something relatable. There's something believable. There's something you could, more than sink your teeth into. It gravitates in your soul. You're like, I get that. I understand what you're saying. John saying that he was bullied by the audience over something he has no control over. He's talking about his Rumble, basically presence and how he went ahead and came so close. And everybody's talking about his bald spot. He's like, this audience bullied me into getting hair replacement surgery. And now I've got it growing. I've got some whispers, but he had to get hair replacement surgery because of the trauma he felt from bullying from the audience. And it's like, it's a real thing. It is. He made a great point.
Spit on my face joke, and then he's like, oh, is that some weird fetish you got?
He was in rare form, that's for sure. It was fun to see John in that light. He basically came out and cut a fantastic promo talking about winners' right history, and you guys are all just terrible. You don't know what you want. You put Cody on your back, and he carried this company for you last year, and now you boo him. You booed him on SmackDown, then you cheer him, The crowd actually started to chant at one point in time because John got them into such a frenzy. He's like, just because you showed, a good mood doesn't mean I still can't tell you all to go to hell. He's like, you all owe me an apology. You don't have the courage to do it. He's like, despite being, this is the fans' show, right? You guys hijacked the show. He's like, you've all gone soft. And that's when we got the loudest, "We are sorry" chants echoing through this arena. At first he said we aren't sorry, but then I think he got it right, and then he's like, you don't mean anything to me. You guys are just the sorriest lowlives I've ever seen. You're sorry, you are sorry. You're sorry lowlives. And that's when the asshole chants start raining out. And John went ahead and he said, I took their best shots for 25 years. Everything you guys threw at me, every single time you thought I would crack, I didn't. And your noise means nothing to me anymore. The only thing that means anything, 36 dates. And the number appears on the screen. And there's not 36 left. No. I told you I had 36 appearances, not matches, appearances. You tell me I can't wrestle, I don't have to. I can show up and do this. Wow. So he counts down the dates of where he's been, ending in the 3-day streak in Vegas, and we're down to 27. This is great. This is incredible. And I like what we have with heel Cena here. This is more of what I was kind of hoping we got for weeks building up to Mania. He was somewhat of this cutthroat, but it felt disjointed at times and a little less prepared. Sure. This tonight felt natural, felt real, and his hatred basically saying that, the marionette strings are there, you're all puppets. I'm going to take away this title. There'll be another one. There'll be another Raw. They'll make another belt. There'll be another champion. There'll always be a new day. But the title that was held by legends, including Bruno and Roman and, so on and so forth. He's like, the title that Steve Austin held comes home with me. I am the last real champion. Take out your cameras, take a picture, and he starts to pose. He turns around and you hear him say, "Shit!" into the mic as he gets fucking RKO'd into somewhere. Love it. Love it. Randy coming up behind him, a guy holding up a sign that says, "Hogan fears unions," right behind the RKO. That's going to live forever. Mwah. Chef's kiss for that one. It was great.
An RKO into somewhere.
I popped. I like seeing Orton being face happy, enjoying life. Orton, there's something to it. Like you said,
And I never thought I would see the day where I would prefer babyface Randy Orton, but there's something about it. He's just fucking.
He cut a promo and it basically made a lot of sense, saying that, he had all this stress, he had all these worries, he had all these fears and doubts and whatnot, and he let it all go, and he's just been enjoying himself and letting it all out there, and that's pretty much what's been happening. He grabs the title, holds it up.
It all out there.
I don't know if people are going to buy into.
Viper?
They call him the rattlesnake for a reason, maybe, well, besides shitting in someone's bag, but I believe John wants to take this belt home with him, and like the Death Riders waiting for Darby Allin to climb that mountain, WWE's mountain is going to be making the fans truly believe that John's walking away with this belt. They're going to have a hard time, and I think some of it will slip through the cracks because of...
I think he holds his title for the rest of his run.
I think so, too, and I think the issue is going to be what we saw tonight, the dates. We're going to get some big lulls here. 27.
This is why you need the
Exo's
Rock to
quick.
Come back and win them thing. You need to be like representing your champion.
We thought, and I think Seth played into on his own the Rock stuff with him doing the poses and the outfits and all of that. I think he was just doing that as like fan service or trying to maybe get something going. But he didn't side with Cena, at least not yet. I mean, him and Braun Breaker with John Cena.
Braun Breaker, yes.
It certainly could, and I would not hate that either. That is a new Shield if I've ever seen one.
Seth Rollins versus Punk, Roman, Cody.
It's going to happen. 2-night SummerSlam. Mark my words. We're going to get that. We're going to get Gunther taking on Oldberg in his retirement because now they've kept the title off of him. They're going to make him a bully, and no one's going to be able to stop Gunther until Oldberg comes back.
We should do something. I know it's far out, but just for fun. I know Santi's does it like months out. Books.
Yeah.
We should like book SummerSlam sometime like maybe this week even for the shits and giggles of it.
Absolutely. That actually is a plan. Liz and I didn't get to do the recap, unfortunately, with my kid being sick, but we went ahead and we did put out our predictions, and we weren't too far off. Her and I did that. So you and I, we'll get everybody together, do a good group roundup. We'll see who wants to join. It'll be a blast.
We should do that way off from SummerSlam. Just
absolutely. Because see how far we can twist that around. But that's going to be the biggest crux of it for me, I think, is the appearances, is getting, because they're going to need a lot of filler. They're going to need a Rock or a Travis Scott. Unfortunately, I don't want to see Travis, but that's who they have right now. They're going to need some other members to go into this stable with John if he develops one. They need something. They need a way to get them basically to December. If they're going to end with the Ruthless Aggression show, they now announced TakeOver Perth. We know that there's going to be War Games in a stadium in LA. Like, everything is just massive. They pretty much laid out, here's where we're going to be for the rest of the year. Poor people save up. And they let you know way in advance. So, but yes, we will definitely put out some prediction shows like that. That's a ton of fun. I like to see what we can we'll come up with for creative ideas. One of the things I want to touch on too is Sith sent me a great letter that just goes into so many amazingly creative angles coming up. So that's one of the things I'll bring up tomorrow as well and into Somewhere Weekly. But Yeah, this was good. I like Face Orton. I've enjoyed it. We had fun with him with
I'm
Riddle.
gonna try my best. Speaking about into somewhere weekly, I'm gonna try my best to catch NXT tomorrow. But if not, I like hearing the live reactions from.
Absolutely, because you finally got to watch Stand and Deliver, and you said how excellent it was. I'm still staying with my, proclamation. That tag match was my favorite match of the entire weekend. I mean, the IC title match was up there, the women's three-way, the men's three-way, but that tag match had everything that I enjoy with wrestling. That was my 5-star for the weekend. So. Then we got the women's tag title rematch. I even said to Liz, like, what the hell? Why are they doing this? That's quick. That certainly didn't seem like that was going to happen, but lo and behold, here we are. So challengers come out. We've got Liv and Raquel taking on, obviously, the new champs in, not Bailey, who has a separated, dislocated, damaged, and broken shoulder now with some other labrum issues and whatnot. They're saying, not legitimately, that's the excuse, but... It definitely seems like this was their entire plan. They didn't know how to turn Becky heel without having her come in as a face and then turn on somebody. And I don't think they wanted to do it at Mania. I think they wanted to wait and really go ahead and try to hit that shock. Oh my God, they did get the titles, and because now you believe in them. If they turn the same night, it kind of feels a little less exciting. Like, oh, why did she turn on her? Because they didn't get it? That sucks. She turned because she lost the titles. Becky's all about being the champion. She's the man. She wants to be on top. She wants to be, setting records and holding all the titles, all the belts. That's who she is.
Becky all belts.
Right? We've seen
talk
Becky
about
2 belts.
Charlotte burying, but I think Charlotte puts people over more than
Becky. It's possible. I mean,
maybe that's a hot take, but I think Charlotte puts people over more than Becky.
Yeah, exactly. I can't argue that. There's a few things I wish I had the energy or availability to do. One of which I wanted to go back in and see if, like, how many times did someone go ahead and win if they're laid out before the pay-per-view? You know what I mean? Like, especially for the build to Mania. Oh, we saw Cody take down John and Cody lost. It kind of reigns true usually. Whoever gets the upper hand last typically loses. But I wonder, like, the percentages of it. And looking back, I was like, oh, we've seen a lot of matches between certain, like, Becky and Sasha, Becky and Charlotte, but I don't remember Becky and Bailey really. I'm trying to think back, and I'm sure they've had matches, but there's nothing to me that's really sticks out that much. Like, I think of Bailey and Alexa Bliss or Bailey and Io, not Becky at all. So
yeah, they never had much, I don't think, rivalry, because they were, like, when they first came out, they were both
they were usually both faces, yeah, in the same time.
Good guys, and Charlotte and Sasha were more of the.
And then they tried to turn Becky, and then that didn't work. The fans revolted on Charlotte. Pills down the hatch.
They flip-flopped everything. Then Sasha was a face. Bailey was a heel. Becky was a heel. They flip-flopped the fuck out of all of it.
Seemed to be. I mean, Bailey's still out with all of those fucking awful beergrams. But if that's the case, I mean, so be it. I'm still happy that we went ahead and we had a great time. Coot saying Triple H the only dude to enter a pay-per-view with the upper hand and with a win. You know what? That's probably the case. And I'd like to go back and, like, check some of the Mania stats on him, things like that. Not a total doubt, but you're right. Baxter said that's not going to work for me, brother. And this was a really decent tag match. It wasn't great. I think their Mania match was a bit better, but just with the wrong outcome.
I actually think the opposite.
Really?
I think this match was better than the Mania match.
I thought this match was a bit sloppy, honestly. It got to This Is Awesome chant, but this crowd would also probably have chanted This Is Awesome if Steve Austin came and crashed into the wall and shit his pants and rolled all around the ring. So
and
I would too.
So I could swing down to the floor and get a few $1 million or something.
Right? Oh, God. Oh, I would have just fell over and passed out.
Yes, though. I mean,
you're already ringside. What more do you need? Shut up, bitch. He didn't hit you. God.
Yeah,
you fell backwards because you weren't paying attention. If you see an ATV coming right at you, what do? Stand there? you move. God.
If they're ringside for fucking WrestleMania, they have to have some sort of money.
Yeah, no
They
kidding.
have to be doing decent in life.
Mania
I need to go
41.
back and
There we
watch
go.
that. I need to go back and watch that. You can just see the fuck. I know we're getting off the topic here, but
That's what it's for.
know, just bumped into the barricade. Not even that bad. And why didn't anyone else fling down? Like just them?
Yeah. Whatever.
More people feel that impact.
Right. Well, I
Was
guess
so
I don't think it actually caused. I think it was like the surprise of it more than anything. She kind of looks like she got a little bit knocked back, but she seemed okay. Granted, apparently she bitched and bitched and bitched continually, according to Twitter.
Khan looked fucking nervous.
He looked not happy, but I can't blame him. Seeing him out there, he must not have loved it. The goddamn drunk bastard missed the ramp at first. When he comes out, I saw so many people posting this on Twitter. I wish I'd play it, but you never know. But he goes ahead and he here's the ramp. He just completely goes right along the sides of it and pulls into the wall. And he's like, and then they make him back up and he gets stuck again. And then he goes up the ramp and goes. And it's like, how much was that man drinking? I know the Maker's Mark bottle was open with Taker in the back, but Jesus, you guys. DUI 316. Yeah, the women's match at Mania was 8 minutes and 40 seconds, according to Wikipedia. So, you know, but tonight's match was 11:55, a little bit more. I just felt like it was a little bit sloppier. I don't know. Maybe watching on the mobile made it that way, but Morgan kind of, you know, basically goes for the Oblivion and couldn't get it a few times. It really set up to her at the end. So Lyra goes ahead and she's going to get her finisher, but she's not able to because Raquel grabs her leg. And that's when Lyra gets knocked basically off the apron with Raquel. And Raquel ends up falling onto Becky, and that's when Liv goes in and she gets Lyra and she hits her with Oblivion, pins her, 1, 2, 3. They get the title. Huge reaction. Judgment Day has some gold again. This was what we wanted to see. We wanted to see her and Dom holding titles, and Raquel. Whatever, you're the afterthought. Sorry, dear. But as we said before, Liv has only gotten better as time has gone on. Her matches have improved greatly. Her mic work, her charisma, her believability, all of it. She's always been stunning. But even if you go back and look at how she looked then, like the way she's changed her body, even she's added a bit more mass and muscle. She's changed in a lot of ways. Her look overall. And I think it just serves her fantastic. I was disappointed. I was really heartbroken last night that they lost those titles. I did not want to see that happen. And the only reason I thought that happened was because they would lose them to Gigi and Tatum, Chemical X Tuesday on NXT. Now, I don't see them dropping those titles. I think we're getting the face turn for Liv and Raquel because Dom's already, getting cheered endlessly. He wants some chicken tendies. That boy saying he's the best looking and most talented Mysterio cracks me up. And Guerrero, he said it well, and he does serve, homage to both sides. So, but yeah, I guess all of this was just in lieu. They didn't have an idea to turn Becky heel, so Bayley missed WrestleMania so that Becky could win, so that they could use the title as the excuse. So it wasn't just, oh, we lost at Mania. It was, oh no, we got the titles at Mania and you cost us them the next night in the rematch. How dare you? I taught you. I took you from NXT. I put you under my wing, pun intended, bird lady. But I like the turn. It was a little telegraphed at the end there when she walked over to grab her, but I did like that she kept doing the one more time and just adding on more manhandle slams. She did indeed. She's not having a good day of it. So, New Day comes out next, and this was a dud for me until the surprise came. So we get Otis and Tozawa coming out, and
I
they're.
wish they gave Rusev back his old theme.
You know what? I kind of like that they changed it up a bit. He looked fantastically scary here.
He's a heel, right?
Oh, how could he not be a heel? He has to be. He never really, the Rusev Day part of it made him, get the attention, but it wasn't like, oh, people loved him as the face. It was the Rusev Day that was over.
Him being face, like that Rusev Day run, and then didn't Bobby Lashley steal Lana from him? And
Yes.
because that was the whole lesbian angle with
Yeah.
Lana and Liv, right?
That's when I had the tickets for Hartford
That's
to go
when he
see
was
the
up.
fucking wedding. It was like right before New Year's, and I was like, I can't go watch the wedding of Bobby Lashley and Lana. And then Liv
Then
was a
Liv.
lesbian, and fuck me,
But
goddamn.
now she's, well, I don't know. Now she likes her daddy, I guess. I don't know.
Pills are good, but yeah, all in all, I went ahead and I popped big for this. I wanted to see Rusev be a monster. It was a good surprise. Michael Cole with the "there were rumors." That's like his new catchphrase. Yeah, no shit, because you guys have not kept many secrets. The ones you have, I'm glad, but most of these things are pretty obvious. We got 420 yesterday. We got Rusev Day today, back to back. I'm a happy camper. This was a lot of fun. I mean, Tozawa goes for that crossbody, and Rusev just catches him and is like, huh? He threw him away like I did those pills. So Otis rips off his shirt, and Rusev just kicks him so goddamn hard. Welcome to the roster, kid. And he puts the accolade on that big bastard, and the ref's trying to pull him off, but he's just raining on it. The crowd's chanting Rusev Day. This was everything I wanted. I really enjoyed this little moment, and it was a lot of fun. I'm curious what the chat thinks, and what did you guys think of Rusev returning? I like that he's a heel. He didn't really work for me as a face. You were hoping for Fraxium instead of Otis and Akira. See, so I think Fraxium are actually, I'm hopping on everybody else's idea. I know Connor and Spaz, and I think even you mentioned at one point, I might be going delirious, but that we got the TLC match on Friday that's coming up between the Profits, Machine Guns, and DIY. And I think Fraxium are going to be added to that. I think they lost to Hank and Tank to get called up for that match on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, Raw was definitely WrestleMania Night 3. I agree. Rusev, TSS says he came back to WWE. However, I'm concerned that he's going to get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened last time. Now we have Braun Breaker. What makes Rusev any better? That's kind of a concern. So people are very nostalgia heavy with these acts. I am as well. Like for Aleister Black, I'm really excited for SmackDown to see him return. And I'm thinking we might have to do a live review on Friday. I don't know, my friend, if anybody's around. I think it might have to happen just being the SmackDown after Mania.
SmackDown review.
A live SmackDown review this Friday just might have to
That's
take
a
place. Right? I'm thinking. It's not often, but for the SmackDown after Mania, I don't know.
Is this going to be a new thing because we've done it for like the last month? Are we going to do Raw reviews after the show?
I don't know. We'll see what the audience likes. So far, it's been going well. I appreciate people being here, hanging around. It's been a lot of fun. So I've enjoyed it, and it's been a great time.
I like the reacting live after the show, I think.
Absolutely. You get your instant emotional feedback and kind of break things down. Try to be a little sensical, and then also try to, not be overcritical or analytical, but there's some things here I like.
Two shows into one, right?
Two into one, that's right.
Because we used to do the news show in the afternoon, and then
yeah, we kind of just made it all into one go of it, and it seems to work. People are able to tune in a bit more, and we get the NXT review tied in with Into Somewhere Weekly. Works out nicely, and I'm excited that Spaz will be here tomorrow.
I can give my live thoughts on the show because I don't
exactly
watch NXT live.
And this way you're
really
busy usually Tuesday afternoons anyway, so it kind of just worked out and flowed into a nice worked out schedule. I'll take it. So we got Io next, and damn, she is still just so over. The "You Deserve It" chants from the crowd, fantastic. I was surprised. I did not expect Stephanie to be the one coming out. Stephanie Vacour, the NXT Women's Champion, La Primera, comes out, and after this is after Io talks briefly. She's saying how this was the highlight of her career. She said now the fans will never ever forget her. And her and Stephanie had an impromptu match. She said, I wanted to fight the best. Io says, right here, right now, I accept. And all this comes out, and he's like, hold on, we're not. And then he's like, all right, I want the match too. You guys want the match? Let's do this. And this was damn good. Gets me excited for the future more so. Right away, the fans loved Stephanie, and they loved Io. So the dueling chants, they didn't know who to cheer for. I saw people chanting both names. Like it was a little wild, but Face versus face here was working. A huge missile drop kick again from Io Sky. She hits those so beautifully. That was one of the highlights for me of that triple threat. I told you yesterday when she hit that damn drop kick. So perfect.
That match was fucking.
It was
Chef
great,
kiss.
and and everything we got from this. So the crowd started chanting, "This is awesome!" before the match even started. Obviously we got the face fucking finale, as we like to say, but she's smacking her head on the mat. I did like Michael Cole saying that Booker T, good thing he's not there, he would have had a heart attack. Io Sky hit a huge German suplex on Stephanie. We saw them both trade meteoras in the corner, but then Stephanie gets a German suplex of her own, and while they're both down on the mat, the fans are chanting "Fight Forever" and "This is awesome" again, and right when another Io chant wakes and kind of comes out, she gets a big Spanish fly from the top rope, and then she pulls herself up. And it looks like she's going to go for the moonsault, but Roxanne comes in, knocks her down, disqualification, 14 minutes, match is over. Damn.
Match is complete.
Yeah. I get why they have a dusty finish for this one. You don't want to have, her lose clean on either
Io
side.
is over. I know people who argue either Bianca or Rhea was thrown into the world title feud.
Yeah.
And when you look back at it, it was kind of Io that was thrown in because she was just getting these major reactions. I don't think she was ever the plan. I think she's the one that actually got thrown in because of the loud reactions. Maybe that's.
The live reactions were great too. Like you said, like people were really animated for her. So it certainly made it an exciting moment. So now we have
supposed to be Bianca and Maria.
Yeah, but I was happy with everything they gave us here. So now Julia runs in and she just starts tearing down Stephanie as well with Roxanne. And, they're just attacking both the champions. And that's when Rhea Ripley's theme hit and those two shit a brick. Rhea runs to the ring and she takes Perez and throws her to the outside with a, big headbutt on the apron that sends her toppling over. And then she goes ahead and she goes towards Julia and they circle each other like a bull and a matador, locking eyes. They tango. I can't wait. I said this ages ago, back when I was covering NXT with Spaz, and we had the black and gold before Rhea was even like really, getting into her stride. I was like, oh, I want to see Julia get picked, because NXT was grabbing talent from everywhere. They were pulling the best women from all over. And I wasn't watching Stardom, but I was following Julia. I loved what she was doing, and it was always entertaining. Girl can hit. I'm going to say that. Her and Rhea, that match should not disappoint. Rhea finally goes over after she has Julia kind of saunter out. She does the heel thing, which is interesting that she's being more of a heel now. It looks like she's going to go that way. I thought she would have been heel to begin with. She's pretty much throughout her time been a heel for the most part. Not always, but for the most part, that was her character. And that's what she excelled at. So then, the heels saunter away and Rhea goes over. She grabs the title off the ground. Io gets up. She hands it to her and she starts to mouth something. I think she said, "I'm coming for this." Cole even played up to it, but they cut the camera angle. Still, this was so damn exciting. The crowd made this what it was even better. The constant dueling chants, the "This is awesome," the "Fights forever," the just the allure of having champion versus champion, the top women's champ versus the top women's champ. I love this. I selfishly wish we got a conclusion. Had they had Io go over, fine. I don't think they would have Stephanie win by any means, but this was damn entertaining. I cannot wait for all of this in the future. Seems like we're going to get some of those tags coming up as well, as we mentioned. That would be good. Seeing Julia and Roxanne go ahead and take on, it could be Io and Ripley. That would be a lot of fun. I'm curious. I could even add Stephanie to the mix there too. The only thing that makes me marred with any type of controversy over this is just the fact that when the roster is now what? Who's called up? What the fuck are we doing? Like,
I don't know
make it
who's called
official.
up and where it was called up, and I
Yeah,
don't know what they're doing.
make it official. Make something
That's all those women in that
cemented
ring
happen.
Just shows you the bright future for the women's division.
Absolutely. I mean, talk about a major, this group of stars.
Rhea, Roxanne, all of them in one fucking ring.
Exactly. That's why it was so exciting, and the crowd reacted properly. And they're losing their damn minds. Thankfully, so they reacted to each person great. I felt. The only thing here is it's just a little muddied with how they're handling the roster because we don't know. Now, tomorrow night, we're getting Stephanie versus Roxanne, and that's going to be for the title. So if Roxanne does not win, she should be done. What more is there for her to do in NXT at this point? She has conquered everything, and she's won. Yeah, they've done the tag titles, they've done the the women's title. She's had several feuds and stories. I think Roxanne is more than done with NXT. After tomorrow's match, if she doesn't win the title, that should be it. That should be her swan song. The only things we have announced for tomorrow night is Lyra and Bailey, Now, we got Liv and Raquel taking on Gigi and Tatum, and then Stephanie is taking on Roxanne. I mean, tonight we had the only two things we had announced for Raw was Cena and Jey Uso. That was it.
They didn't advertise any matches.
No. SmackDown, has just one match, and that's what we discussed earlier, the TLC match that I think Fraxium's going to join into. And then we have the mystery wrestler reveal.
Cody and
Sexy.
Cena are supposed to be on SmackDown, I believe.
Yes, they will be as well. So, but as far as things announced besides that, that's it. That's what we got so far. As I continue to look through, that's what I'm saying. I want to see things be just better defined. If you're going to float between NXT and you can do that and you can go back and forth, fine, great. Sure, do it. But just make it clear. Yeah. So I know they got to save some people for the draft, and it's weird because they're announcing some things very far in advance, but then other times, like the draft will be 2 weeks from now, and they'll be like, oh, it's 2 weeks from now, instead of telling you a month ahead. So
yeah, like next week they'll say, oh, the draft is next week.
Yeah.
Like, what? Wait, whoa.
Exactly.
Whoa,
so they'll kind of rush that out, I'm sure.
When they announced the draft, though, I think that's another video idea. Just like try to predict.
Yeah, we tried to have that happen last year, but I don't know. This is when we got Jay coming out with his World Heavyweight Yeet Champion shirt. That was cool. I know Liz probably bought 4 of those. We went ahead and got him yeeting all the way to the damn ring. Huge celebration. They bring it back. They do the yeet again. He gave a great speech here. He's like, the new world champion is in your city. And he's like, I made him tap. Yeet. He tapped out. Yeet. And it was fun. Yeet. And I'm drunk. Yeet. Yeah, he seemed a little bubbly and out of breath. But that's when, Sammy came out. And I was a little worried at first because Sammy didn't seem so elated. He was kind of like sauntering to the ring a bit sad almost. It was a bit odd. He didn't have that jovial energy he usually has. But then he got in the ring and he's like, I don't know where to begin. Yeah, it could be. So he's like, over the last 8 weeks, you were going through everything with Gunther, and that's hard on you. But me missing WrestleMania was hard on me. So as soon as he said that, I thought he was like, oh, he's going to challenge him for the title right now. But that's not what we got. He's like, you're my brother, you're my dog, you're my oos, you deserve that, you deserve it. They chanted, you deserve it. They play his music again. They're yeeting. Now his brother comes out. We get Jimmy out there. We get the two of them together. And it was a little like quiet at first, And so Jimmy comes out, he hugs Sammy, and then once he walks in the room, then he hugs Jay. So once he gets into the ring, he does it. But I was like, they do their handshake, the thing that I'm too white. I'm not cool enough. I admit it. Sammy he had to practice. But they left together. That was it. They just, hey, yeet. This guy's a champ. Fuck yeah, that's my brother. Celebrate him and get out. I'm not complaining by any means. And there's a lot they could set up. This was like just a celebration. And a celebration without cake. 3 of the former Bloodline members. Twitter right now just literally says Zayn turning on Jay needs to happen. I think they needed to have the celebration tonight. Instead of adding any
Jay's done that to
sadness.
him a few times because Sammy, like I remember the WrestleMania 39 build. Sammy hugged Jay because he thought he was out there to help him, and then Jay kicked him in the face.
Yep.
So Sammy remembers, and then.
And he can touch on that too. Exactly. There's so much history. There's a lot that they can do there, and exactly. Paul just said they lingered at the end, so that's what made it like. Sammy was already kind of moving slow, and then Jimmy's out there. They both grabbed his hands, and it felt like, oh God, no. But thankfully, not the case yet. I wouldn't want to see that tonight. I wanted him to get his celebration moment. He had to defy the critics, defy the haters, go against the fans that thought he didn't deserve it, and prove his weight in gold. And whether you love or hated the match, the man is over. He's talented. He's our champion. Now let's see how long he holds on to that title. Still a very fun segment. Then backstage, as I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest reactions for somebody that doesn't even come out. First, AJ is being interviewed by Jackie. And he's like, it kind of sucks that I lost, but that's okay. No big deal. It was only WrestleMania. Yeah, sure. I'm going to bounce back because I'm phenomenal. And Karrion Kross, screaming from off camera, comes running in, berating AJ, basically saying, you didn't use the brass knuckles. You embarrassed us. You made him legitimate. You losing to him puts him over. He's
basically saying, I get you're a good guy, but sometimes you have to do things dirty.
Mm-hmm. And AJ comes back at him saying, I don't want to be that guy. I hated seeing that guy in the mirror. I don't know why you're thinking this needs to happen. Why go back to that? And Cross was saying, this is where you needed to go. So AJ was like, if you have a problem, go solve it yourself. And then you see Karrion, maybe I will. That Jesse Ventura growl that he has. Love it. They are pushing him. They are going to push him strong and hard and fast, and I love it. Strong, hard, and fast, baby. You know it. He does deserve it every which way. Like I said before, briefly, he cuts great promos. He's very big into the psychology of things. Yeah, it reminds me of Bray a little bit in that. Always thinking of what's next rather than what's to come now. He's always prepared. He puts so much important detail into his work, and that's why I liked Aleister Black. I mean, when he had the eye injury, when he came over to AEW, even the name of his song was an herbal medicine used to treat eye injuries. Ugentrust by Amenra.
He got the eye injury in WWE, and then
and kept it.
And he sold the injury in another company. That's fucking great.
It was just, things like that. So long-term storytelling and getting those type of things. Karrion got one of the biggest reactions. He wasn't even out there. Push him hard. Then we got another great segment. I mean, they knocked it out of the park tonight with a lot of these. At first, it felt a slight bit like not as big, but they just continued. You got the Rusev surprise, the tag champs changing hands. Now we go ahead and we got that great women's match. It ended, it was ended in a fuckery, but that's okay because it's building towards more. But this was perfect. Gunther, coming out of commercial, just is standing in front of the broadcast table, and he is already yelling at Michael Cole. And Cole is so good. Cole is just yelling at him in a not afraid but not wanting to start shit tone of voice, being like, hey, I'm not the one that tapped out. You did. And that's when basically Gunther leans in and he shoves Pat McAfee to the ground. He grabs Michael Cole after kind of pie-facing his face and knocking his glasses off. And he turns him around and he basically grabs Cole and starts putting him into a sleeper hold. McAfee runs over and gives him a good right stiff one. It kind of sends him reeling back a little bit, and now everyone runs out. Security and, all this. Everyone's out there breaking it up. All the producers, all the mice and men putting Humpty back together again. We see them going ahead and holding him strong. Pat's like, you know what? Calm down. We're good. Goes to turn around to walk back to his commentary seat. But like I said before, never turn your back on Gunther. He lays in the choke deep. Cole can't do a thing about it. And no one can get him to release this hold. Like a fucking python wrapping around its victim. He's just got that locked in tight. Pat
wouldn't let it go by any means. He wasn't gonna take no for an answer.
Certainly
I think-
not.
I think this was a great segment. I
Yeah.
think this is leading to Pat and Gunther, which I think would actually, people might be disappointed I saw online, but that's actually going to be a perfect match.
Pat McAfee has delivered
it's
great
been in the ring.
matches. Him and Adam Cole at TakeOver, whatever it was, when they had the whole COVID stuff going on, and they did everything they could to make that as exciting as possible. They told a great story. Maybe the only complaint you could have was the finish, because Pat basically walked forward with his body bent over to take the Panama Sunrise. Like, he kind of like crab walks forward while leaning for it. But besides that, you know, he's had that great match at Mania. He's good in the ring. War Games, you can't forget about. You know, the guy, he had a wrestling ring in his backyard. He had one built. He's always loved to fuck around with it. He says, you know, that's why he was telling Burt Kreischer, like, no, if you want to do this, you really, it's hard. You gotta put a lot into it. So it was good to this whole segment. The fans were at a fucking fever pitch. It was exciting. It was intense, and it was believable. And that was probably the best part of it, was the believability. You knew that Gunther is now a fractured, broken man. His ego is destroyed. His confidence is lacking. He does not believe in himself. And Michael Cole said earlier that's the catalyst to why Gunther came out, I feel, and I think they'll touch on that again. But Cole said, look at it now. Gunther has to realize he can't get it done at the biggest stage of them all. You know, and he can't. He lost to Sammy. Now he lost to Jay. He's going to lose to Jimmy next year. You never know. What I loved about this, too, was that they sent Joe Tessitore out, but not immediately. You kind of go ahead and, you know, get a minute to just kind of feel what's going on. And then Joe gets on the headset, and you see them take Pat into the trainer's room, and Adam Pearce goes and grabs Michael Cole, says, take the rest of the night off. And Cole's like, I think he broke my nose. He's like, what? We're not allowed to have opinions and have fun? We can't do our job? We can't have some bully go ahead and threaten us constantly? You have to do something. He said, I'll take care of it. And Cole walked back out, and that's when we got those Michael Cole chants. The Michael Cole.
I think Adam, again, take the night off. I can't let you. And he's like, I'm not going to let some bully stop me from doing what I love to do.
Absolutely. And I like Cole and Tessitore. They're a good crew, and I would like to see how Pat would be in a 3-man with them. But I'm not a hater of Joe Tessitore. I enjoy him on the headset and what he does for commentary. This whole thing is perfect. I do worry that it all is to lead to Gunther taking on Goldberg at SummerSlam. You know, they have the 2 nights there. Goldberg's retirement would certainly be ticket worthy for some people. Not for me. I've never been big into Goldberg, obviously. You know, the car crash type match that ends in a minute 30. I mean, it was shocking at Survivor Series when he took out Brock, because Brock was conquering everyone and everything, streaks and careers and titles. And then he gets squashed in what, a minute 30, 40, something like that. It was very quick. But that was always the issue with Goldberg. He couldn't go long. He could do a spear, a jackhammer, and pin you, and that was it. And for the time, it worked.
Goldberg, because Braun Breaker's just a fucking way better wrestler than Goldberg will ever.
Braun Breaker basically made yesterday the true, like, 3-on-1 handicap match. He was destroying everybody, you know, and almost had the match won at many points. So
I don't even know if it should be legal to be how fast Braun Breaker is. Holy shit.
Yeah, and Paul pointed out too that now they went well past 10:30. This was one of the longer Raws that they've had on Netflix since the debut, so that was a good surprise too. But all the matches, for the most part, were still very short. This was the one coming up was only about 8 minutes long. We had Dominic Mysterio, very promo heavy, and that's okay for the Raw after Mania. But I mean, the matches were good; they were fun.
That's good. A lot of the weeks, actually, especially go home shows, I don't mind promo heavy shows as long as it's storytelling, because you can't just have a bunch of matches like AEW does. I'm sorry to bring.
No, you need both. Absolutely. But in AEW, you'll have a great match, but no reason to care or tune in.
Yeah,
WWE,
exactly.
you have, maybe not always the best matches, but some of the better storytelling. And it's not that we're having bad matches. I just wish at times they could turn it up a bit more. I know they're saving it for the premium live events, the pay-per-views, the specials, stuff like that. But all in all, I'm, a bit endeared to the format, but I do like them, to still have bangers here and there. So this match, damn good. Penta looks great. Comes out fighting Dominic for the IC title. He hits, his usual Mexican destroyer at one point that looked great. Dom hit a great tornado DDT that got a really good near count. That was great. Dom eventually goes up for the frog splash, but then Penta gives him a big kick, jumps up on the ropes, and that's when Dom knocks him down to the apron. Penta chops the shit out of him, pulls him back in the ring, and then gets him down with the big head scissors. Penta's very quick still, which is fantastic. It makes it exciting. So now Dom's on the outside and Balor's checking on him, and that's when Dom points to Penta and he just fucking dives on top of Balor and uses a big head scissors to fucking launch Balor into Dom. Great fucking sequence. So much fun. So now Balor and Dom are inadvertently beating each other up. Penta gets Dom back inside the ring, and when he goes up top, JD McDonough shows up and pushes Penta off the top rope. Dom gets the top rope frog splash and gets the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, fun match. I'm happy McDonough's back, and then Carlito and Balor were on the floor. It looked like they were head to the stage, and that's when Lowe came out, and Liv and Raquel celebrated with the titles. Balor looked fucking miserable, rightfully so. He eventually
didn't want to celebrate with anyone besides Dominic again.
Yeah, and he eventually smiled, but it took its time. So we know that him and McDonough are gonna go ahead and be together. They're gonna turn.
Fake ass smile he had.
Yeah.
Going on.
Really, yeah, and it was a whole great sequence. I'm glad JD's back. I feel like the fans are more endeared to him now that he did finish that match with that hellacious injury, and he went ahead and showed his fighting spirit. So people were excited to see him return. Then we got the main event. Yeah, with JD coming back. I mean, yeah, the angry Irishman.
They're gonna turn on.
It seems like they'll turn on Judgment Day. Yeah.
With Carlito.
I wonder. I think the feud will obviously branch out to those of guys eventually away from Judgment Day and leading to them maybe going for the tag titles again or something like that. But you'd have to get them off to New Day maybe for.
Where's Carlito gonna go though? We need to know about the.
Yeah, you never know.
Man.
He could go either which way. It seemed like he was still kind of helping Finn out a little bit, so. It's up in the air.
Another R-Truth funny backstage segments and
could be. I mean, he does do it well. So, and comedy's hard in wrestling, and he still manages to make people laugh. Then we got the main event, and again, they went right into it. So we had Seth come out, and the crowd sang. He looked like a fluorescent banana, but that's all right. The fans were chanting, "Thank you, Seth." They chanted for Roman and the OTC. Then you heard a loud "Fuck you, Heyman" chant. That was great. Seth, basically, he's going through all of his, I'm the Seth freaking Rollins, I'm the legend killer 2.0. I'm the dirty bastard that nobody wants to sit next to on airplanes, and so on and so forth. All of his lovely nicknames. But that's when CM Punk makes his entrance. Crowd fucking erupts. He runs to the ring, goes right for Seth, and they're beating the shit out of each other. He takes down Seth, and then he looks over at Heyman. And, Heyman's yelling, I didn't screw you. I didn't screw you, Punk. Man. Yeah, he goes after and he grabs Heyman, but that's when Rollins gives him the eye poke and then gives him a stomp. He's down.
Your CM Punk scream. Then he gave him that nasty curb stomp.
Yep, that was a brutal curb stomp.
They
Jesus.
Call it stomp now.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they call it the curb stomp? Is there any reason?
Probably something to do with American History X, but you never know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, God knows. There's a little racial, kind of balance to it. But they put up the executive producer stuff. So yeah, they've continued to go after it. But I was like, oh, they're going to end there just with him taking out Punk while the fans were chanting, "We want Roman." But then Heyman goes ahead and he grabs the mic and he's still talking. He's like, I told you all we would conclude WrestleMania weekend by going all the way through to WrestleMania 42. He's like, he's the new reigning, defending, undisputed #1 top star of the industry. And that's when Roman came out. And damn, Roman is pissed. He goes right after Seth. So Seth, hurry up, quick as he can. Come on, Gingerbread Man. He tosses Punk the fuck out of the ring to not have to deal with them. And that's when Reigns comes in and he hits a great spear on Seth. He then turns his attention to Heyman and hits him with a Superman punch. I didn't think he would get physical with Heyman yet. I thought it would have got stopped again, but lo and behold, it happened. Now Roman fucking lets out that big scream. He's going to spear Paul, but then he's attacked by a man in black. It's revealed to be Braun fucking Breaker. Holy shit. Holy shit, chance. I mean, everybody in the crowd is exploding in their pants. I didn't expect this. To be completely honest, I thought they would keep Braun away for maybe 2-3 weeks and then kind of bring him back and maybe go back after the IC title, but probably go up towards, the main title or some good feud. This is a great thing for him. It keeps him out of the title picture, gets to be a great heel in a top faction. Seth's got his arm around him saying, that's my boy. We heard Paul on the Pat show say he was going to go shopping because he needed more beef. And boy, they are fed well. Breaker is a fucking beast. So now, Breaker, he runs all the way around the ring like no other can, as fast as that man can. Spears Roman through the timekeeper area. Then he basically gets back in the ring, carries Roman with him, and Punk's on his knees and it was starting to crawl, and then Rollins hits him with another brutal stomp, and Breaker, he grabs Roman's head and he's just fucking berating him. And you saw Seth go ahead and hits a stomp on Roman, and then they raised their hands, and Paul raised their hands, and that was it. That's how he ended. What a fucking, true legendary moment, especially for Baby Steiner. Yes, the Pat McAfee show was indeed required viewing earlier with everything they built to, with Cena, with Paul. That was the preview for Raw. I don't know what they're going to call this. It is like the new Dangerous Alliance, essentially, with Heyman, but that would be funny. I don't want them to do that, but are they going to have Becky Lynch join too, since that's her husband?
Which I'm surprised Braun Breaker was in this in a way, because Braun Breaker's been more of a face lately now.
For the most part, yeah. He's been, doing the Steiner math and having fun and enjoying himself, so...
But,
I was a bit surprised. Like I said, TSS said Roman is going to be off TV till June. The new Heyman group versus Punk, Roman, Zayn, Jimmy, and Jay will be the big storyline going to summer, perhaps into Survivor Series. Well, that's interesting. So, there's definitely ways for them to keep this going until Roman gets back. And the new Midnight Express, right? It's certainly, it's a shield. That's for damn sure. It's a shield. Becky Hogan, I could see her joining, certainly. That would be pretty damn interesting. They're going to need to do something with it, right? I'm trying to find on Twitter earlier. It was hilarious. I know we had Bianca Undertaker. That was good. But then we also had, Becky Hogan. That one was worth the share. So all in all, that doesn't work for her brother, and that's okay. We'll see what happens with her being a heel in the future. All in all, this was a good Raw. I enjoyed it.
Maybe better than Big Time Bex.
It could be, That thing, when she turned and did the whole man thing, it started to work. The fans wanted it, and they didn't want to see her be heel. They just wanted to see her be a badass, Stone Cold-esque. But we'll see with it.
It needed to be heel or face when she originally started with the man. I think it should have just been doesn't give a shit.
This just cracks me up, the Becky Hogan thing, because she came back. She had to replace Bayley. get the tag titles at Mania, get the big win, have the celebration. Then tonight, if she didn't lose, Lyra did. And then she beat the shit out of Lyra in turn. So whether it was planned or not, it certainly goes against her reputation. But Brooke Hogan, like no other, you know, and just we get Becky Hogan, excuse me, not Brooke. His daughter's in my mind, right? Funny enough, but yeah, Becky Hogan. I really like this Raw. There wasn't much in terms of like, you know, they had good action, but I wouldn't say there was one match far above the rest. You know, the women's tag was fun. The surprise swap of the belts was a good, you know, good thing to have. I like that Judgment Day has the titles again, and it's a better way for it to be for now. I as much as we had the hot potato version of it, I'm okay with it. We got the big reaction. Becky turned heel. The belts are in the right place. All is right with the world, it seems. And I'd prefer Becky be a heel now than a face, anyways. Also, when they announced the Survivor Series, that's Thanksgiving weekend, I believe, too. So more holiday fun for San Diego, California, at Petco Park for the Padres. All right.
You can do something good for Dom there because he's a big Padres fan.
And then they announced Perth, Australia for TakeOver Perth in October. That's going to be massive. You know, they have the June 7th, show for Worlds Collide with AAA, that crossover, and then Money in the Bank the same day. There's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to look forward to. You know, we're going to touch on tomorrow some future plans, some ideas. What do we think the booking is going to lead to? Obviously, we're going to be reviewing and breaking down NXT. We'll talk about your experience with Stand and Deliver then as well, and what your thoughts are for that show. But do you have any other thoughts on Raw tonight, WrestleMania? Anything else you wanted to touch on, my friend?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. I'm looking forward to seeing the John Cena and Randy Orton feud.
Yeah. I wonder if we see Cena anymore until Backlash. I mean...
Well, he's going to be on SmackDown, right?
He's going to be on SmackDown, and then from there, I wonder if we're going to see him anymore. Cody's supposed to be on SmackDown at well. I mean, he's got 27 dates to go, and now essentially 26 after Friday.
Is it going to be a triple threat match? Because Cody gets a rematch, right? Because Rhea Ripley did. So I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think so. I was surprised that Cody wasn't going to take a couple weeks off, honestly, with him being on the constant grind schedule that he is. One of the best comments, he was walking back to the bus all sad with his wife, and they're like, he's so heartbroken he forgot his kid.
That's fucking great.
He got me, but
you know, I think you need to have Cody act more like dickish, because everyone shows human emotions. He's just pissed about what happened.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's your typical baby face. I think he's gonna have more of a prickish attitude on.
I hope so. I want more realism that we got from Cody. That I want him to be him genuinely. I want to see that type of, you know, we saw the way Cena lost and sat after he was defeated by The Rock. Same thing with Cody yet again, and then
Cody's not done with Cena either. That's why I'm saying maybe a triple threat. Or
yeah. So
Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton in the number one contender.
I wouldn't at Backlash. I would keep it just Randy and Cena, and then you can either build to that for, you know, Money in the Bank or the next show, or you don't get Randy out of there. But there's a lot of people that want to face Cena. There's a lot of, you know, he does have some appearances left. He's going to have some big matches. I want to see a match with him and Hendry if possible, but who God knows. It seems like really he'll hold the title till the end of the year, and it's either going to be one of those, like Spaz said, the Avengers Assemble moment where it all comes down to him going ahead and you know, being the heel, and Punk's going to be the one to come in and save his soul. He'll get the title, turn John face so he can retire as the good guy. I don't think they wrote Pat
everyone's
off.
Going to be celebrating with Punk, but Cena's going to get up and shake his hand, I think.
Yeah, I have that kind of, finally he's, you know, been conquered. So it's either going to be Punk or Cody. I mean, maybe somebody else, but they made Cody look a little bit like a bitch because he couldn't use the title to get the job done. He had to do it the right way. But, you know, when they're actively attacking you with weapons, it's not like you went to go use it and John never cheated so far. I mean, you got attacked. So, disassemble. Johnny Five. Oh, what a flashback. What about Cena versus Punk, Money in the Bank in Los Angeles? I know that would be great, and then it builds up to Cody taking the title from him at the end. I mean, there's certainly a lot of ways they could spin this.
An opportunity to make Money in the Bank in Chicago.
Yeah, it's already in Los Angeles, but it would have been great if they had set that up.
That's what I'm saying. They missed the opportunity there.
Yeah, it would have been great. Yeah, but it's 13 years later, so I don't think Cody looks like a tool, but he certainly looks a bit weak by not being able to do what needed to be done to, you know, keep that title in the Rhodes family. I'll tell you, though, we've had a busy few days. We've done previews, we've done reviews, we've done opinion pieces, and we'll be live again tomorrow. That's right. We'll be here hanging out with everybody for the NXT review with Into Somewhere Weekly. Spaz and Cody will be joining, and it looks like this Friday we'll have to do a big group show. We'll try and do a call-in with everybody, and we'll have fun with the SmackDown review. It looks like Cena and Cody face-to-face, the TLC match, Aleister Black. It's going to be a fun night, so hopefully we can go ahead and get everybody together and have a great time. And then we'll make some more plans going forward with the streaming schedule. But this has been just a great weekend, great few days. Mania week still continuing on. We got NXT and SmackDown after Mania, so we'll be live after both. But Cody, please tell the people where they can find you, my friend.
You can find me over on Twitter at Judgment Day Era, and you can find me over on my Instagram, Cody_Onidi_316, and all other of my 27,693 accounts.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's after the 125,000 robots you set up to go to WrestleMania, so.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, because that was supposed to be our secret, but...
I'm sorry, but...
Now...
AI's advanced, my friend. You know, we got the Jake bot coming soon too. We're gonna have the Jake reaction bot debuting on the channel, so that's gonna be great.
But because we need the Jake bot, because you know I'm the actual physical person.
Yeah, and you're the one controlling the marionette strings. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We've had a blast yet again. Let me know in the chat. Show me your rankings number-wise. What do you give Raw after Mania out of 10? I'd go 8, 8.5 just for the feel of it. I mean, it was a fun night. A lot of great stuff. We got to see Joe Hendry again, that's for sure. But thank you all so much for hanging out. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. Almost to 4,000 subs. I think we're like 20 away. Not that far. So we're getting there. Yeah, 18 away. 3,982. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. That's right. I hope you all have a great night. Stay sexy, and we'll see you tomorrow for Into Somewhere Weekly.